Good afternoon. Glad to see everyone here today. Welcome to our first Shotsuki Hoyo service for this year. As you know, in January we had to cancel that Shotsuki service due to weather and possible flooding, so we really appreciate your patience and understanding of that cancellation. At today's memorial service, we honor family members and friends whose anniversary of their passing are in the months of January and February. Today's service will be officiated by our supervising minister, Reverend Dennis Fujimoto from the Buddhist Temple of Alameda, and as always, Sensei, really nice to see you coming to Enmanji. I would like to start the service with a short meditation reading. Sensei will strike the bell once to begin. Sensei. Though we flounder on the sea of ignorance, by following the Buddha's guidance as we sail on the ship of the Dharma, we will surely reach the shore of enlightenment. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Please stand for our opening kata, which will be in the purple book Namo Amida Butsu on page 174 and remain standing for the reading of the Threefold Refuge. Page 174. Please remain standing for the reading of the Threefold Refuge on page 10 of the purple book. Page 10. Difficult is it to receive the human form now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Dharma of the Buddha now we hear it. If we do not cross over to the truth in the present life, in what life shall we cross over? Let us with sincerity and true reverence take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we together all sentient beings awaken to the great way of enlightenment and to the unsurpassed intent of Amida. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we together all sentient beings enter the storehouse of the Dharma, becoming like a wisdom ocean. I take refuge in the Sun. May we together all sentient beings become units in true accord, in harmony with all things. The peerless, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rare to encounter, even in many hundreds and thousands of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida. Namo Amida.
The names of the Shotsuki Hoyo honorees for January and February will not be read. Those family members and friends observing this occasion, please come forward to Oshoko during the reading of names. I'll begin with the January honorees. Nobuko Furusho, Leroy Gunnels, Ayako Hayashi, Venezo Ishizu, Fuji Ishizu, Ryoso Ito, Tokuzo Kimura, Fukuichi Kunimoto, Seizo Kunimoto, Surikichi Matsuda, James Taro Mashista, Sasuke Morikawa, Saihachi Murakami, Shina Murakami, Fujino Utani, Eddie J. Peterson, Toru Shinosuka, Kami Takanaka, Kisaichi Ueda, Barry Yasuda, Perry Yasuda, Teiichi Yoshioka, Yuka Matoba, Fuji Murakami Kamatani, Tsutomu Taniguchi, Shinako Iwamura, Tom Yoneda, Taichi Matsuda, Bunichi Bob Yasuda, Hiroshi Karaha, Isayo Kawaoka, Itsuko Hamamoto, George Kazuo Okazaki, Alejo Bunwan, Kenzo John Okazaki, James Ryutsu Yamasaki, Yasu Kawase, Ayako Shimizu, Dennis Joka, George Kimura, Gingo Taji, Daiichi Okamoto, Sui Yuk Wang, Minoru Matsuda, Ruth Horaga, Ted Horaga, Chizuyo Kunimoto, Bill Shimizu, Masaru Shimizu, Dr. Tetsuro Fuji, Suneo Moriki, Nei Yamaoka, Marie Sugiyama, and Jean Mukaida. Those were the January honorees. I'll continue with the reading of the February honorees. Virgil Bob Crossler, Masahiko Fujihara, Kushino Fuji, Alice Masae Hamamoto, Moto Imoto, Ichichiro Ito, Sugisaburo Ito, Frank S. Karahara, Kaname Ono, Isaburo Kobayashi, Some Kubuke, George Masami Miyano, Kinbe Okazaki, Elaine Shigeko Otani, Iwakichi Sumigawa, February Shotsuki Hoyo, Wakayama, Fujimoto, Kyo Yamamoto, Yoshinobu Ito, Tomie Wakayama, Robert Otani, George Kim, Jitaro Yamamoto, Amy Wada Nichols, Matsumi Wada, Hien Tu Vu, Mio Masaoka, Hisako Sujihara, Masao Matsumoto, Mac Masanobu Tabata, Eiko Baba, Haruko Yamamoto, Oneji Matsumoto, Roy Morikawa, Mary Karahawa, and Yoshio Otani. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Sensei will now offer Sambujo. That's found on page 24 of the purple book, followed by the Hyobyokumon, and then sutra chanting. Today's sutra will be the first half of Amida Kyo, found on page 103 of the purple book. So page 24 for Sambujo, and 103 for Amida Kyo.
Kyogakumon. Today, on this occasion of the Shotsuki service for January and February, members of our temple families have reverently come before Amida Buddha in memory of their beloved. The deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida, we reaffirm the three homages, Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie So. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. 国土上佐見学黄金日昼夜六時にうまんだらけ五国修上同意昇誕各位英国上州行慶空行他方十万六仏即位直事伝統本国門的行行者理法村国土領寿尿税空毒将軍物資者理法異国上集中奇妙座敷市長学校着法務者理下領民が無名市長聖書州長長夜六時水和デーモン五年長五根合力式母大分八正道分尿税東方合同修上門税恩人外出念仏年法年少者理法の没意修長実税財法少々少位者が異部国道部三幕州者理法公部国道小部三幕道司名学教宇実税少州長改正阿弥陀仏欲療法温泉流園芸少佐者理法異部国道未付水の小法五十流法羅門水未妙門二四百千中学同時空三門税四社会事年上念仏年法年相死心者理法東部国土長寿尿税空毒将軍
Today's Dharma message will be given by Reverend Fujimoto.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to be here. If you're skipping the January session, and it's always nice to see the Shotsuki families and so many people coming up to offer incense. It's a very special part of our Shin Buddhist tradition to have the Shotsuki service, and we kind of take turns supporting each other and honoring those that we have lost in our own families. So I always think, I may have mentioned this before, but I do think of my mother, that she puts up the Homyo, her family Shotsuki names up on her home altar, and there's rarely a month where there isn't a name up there, huh? And so maybe 9 months out of 12, there's someone to be honored in all the people that she has record of, from my father's family, her family in Japan, and more. She even has a Homyo card for my dog Quicker, so she honors everyone that we have lost in our family. So I think it's very special to see the Shotsuki families to come up here and offer incense. Today I wanted to talk about everyday life is our practice. As Shin Buddhists, we might hear this often at the temple, that everyday life is our practice. And through going through just daily routines and things that happen at the temple, we're able to learn about ourselves and about each other. We learn about human nature, self-concerns. We learn about our ego-centeredness, how it rears up, how it interacts, how it engages and tries to control situations or other people or ourselves. And this is all happens, and we learn from all of these interactive activities that come. So as we go through each of these, maybe, just maybe, we can come to view the ego as a mischievous little kid in the backyard, and not so much this uncontrollable monster that's causing chaos and havoc everywhere. So as I was thinking about this, at many of our temples, we have next to the Shingon scroll, there's another one of Prince Shotoku. We don't have one here, but often there is one. And Prince Shotoku was the Prince Regent in Japan in early days of Japan. He came to learn about Buddhism, and so he was so impressed with the Buddhist teachings that he decided to encourage, we should have the Buddhist teachings in Japan, and he encouraged people going to China to learn about the Dharma, encouraging people from China to come and share the Dharma with the people in Japan. And so because of him and his efforts, the Buddhist teachings became very prominent in Japan, and the principles of Buddhism were essential to his first constitution, in the sense of that they had in Japan. And he wrote about harmony. This is what he wrote: harmony should be valued and quarrels should be avoided. Everyone has his biases, and few men are far-sighted. But when the superiors are in harmony with each other and the inferiors are friendly, then affairs are discussed quietly and the right view of matters prevails. So I don't care for the superiors and the inferiors part of the language of those times, but just referring to the people, the leaders, and everyone else. If the leaders are in harmony, then things kind of fall into the right view, and everyone can discuss things quietly, comfortably. So when you think about this in Japan and in many Buddhist cultures, we find group values, welfare of the community is emphasized over individual interests, individual concerns. And so I think this is something that we can come to recognize. And so when we say everyday life is our practice at the Sangha, at the temple, we see so many instances, often talking to each other, eating snacks as a Sangha. Every time after Shotsuki service, lots of goodies and treats are put out on the table, and tea or water, and people mingle and haven't seen each other for a little while, so we talk to each other and visit, and it's very nice. And particularly with the pandemic going on for a few years now, people really look forward to visiting with each other. So we see this happening. And so, when we have our events like the bazaar or different committees, onodori and all these things, maybe the bazaar is a good example. I'm not talking about this temple, but a different temple. They would gather to make sushi, right? And some of the senior women who know better, they're known as the experts at rolling sushi. So they'll roll, and everyone looks to this person's example, right? And if there's someone new that wants to learn about sushi, she'll take that person under her wing and show them the right way to do it, so that everything is centered and looks nice and is very appealing in not only in taste but how it looks and all these things. So thinking about the instance where a certain person is showing everyone, then she takes the break and leaves. Then another couple ladies lean in, don't listen to her. She doesn't really know. And so this is how we should be done. And so then they'll show what they think is the proper way, right? Again, I'm saying, it's not this simple. Okay? Yeah, but some things like that, and so people have different perspectives, and maybe they take it with a grain of salt, and maybe the people who are learning roll their eyes because they hear the same story happening every single year, right? But hopefully it doesn't get into a big ego clash, but just certain differences that happen, and we can learn from each of these instances. And if you think about Obon, for example, oh, I like this dance, so I was at a different temple, they did this dance, yeah, but we have our own way here, and differences occur. Lots of things can occur, and rarely does it not occur, right? And we have these instances all the time where this everyday life is our practice, and we can learn about ourselves, about each other as we go through each of these things. So in Buddhism, we hear often, life is suffering, life is dukkha, life is incomplete. That's another word to fit in there. So I think this means things do not go as we wish, or we cannot control others as we hope to. So it doesn't always go as we would prefer it to go. And so we make room, we make space for that. And as recently, talking to Sharman, and we had visited the Northwest District, and we have dear friends up there, and one of the ladies now, our age, but she and Sharman were Dharma school at the same time, and so her father was in the military, right? A Marine. And so he was very strict and rigid, and so he took control of the Dharma school kids and kept them in line, and his daughter said, oh, I was always so embarrassed, that's my father, but he's, just iron-fisted in a way. And Sherman said, oh no, we needed him, we appreciated him so much because he would keep order when we needed him to be there. And so, but as she was growing up, she was always embarrassed, and it would be her father doing these things, and she became this very quiet, timid person, and maybe in reaction to her father being the way he was or something, but Sharman was recently just reassuring her, so, oh no, so we respected your father so much, you shouldn't ever feel like that. He meant so much, not only to our temple, to the whole community, and he was really something. And so she would be teary to hear that, even as an adult, that she didn't realize. And so we go through certain things, and we learn from these types of perspectives. I have another story, different, not temple, but it's a horse story. So I was reading about this horse trainer, and he got hired to take care of this stable of horses, and he liked everything just so, very meticulous, and he wanted the whole stable to look reflecting like how he was. So he had all the fences repaired properly, and he wanted everything
everything whitewashed, all the fences bright, fresh paint everywhere. And the weeds were trimmed, and if the horses were on the path, then if they pooped, then someone would clean it up quickly, right? It wouldn't be left there for even in a few minutes, in 10 minutes, everything would be clean. This whole place is just immaculate. Lots of people working under him and learning how to work with horses the way he liked horses to be worked with. And so, really in his image. And so as they were talking, he was talking with his fellow workers there, and they're trying to think of things, how to improve the operations there. And they thought one of the things that took the longest time is taking the horses to feed, that they would take all the horses and they would feed them in their individual stalls because they had maybe different needs, dietary needs and things like that. Instead of just eating out in the pasture, they would feed them twice a day. They'd bring them in. And to lead 40, 50 horses, it takes a lot of time, taking 3 or 4 in at a time. And so they're talking about it, and they thought, well, what if we train them to just go to their own stalls? So you think we can do that? And so they're discussing this, and they decided to try, and first maybe 3, 4 horses at a time. And if the horses know they're going to get fed, right? So they trot on quickly to get there. And so when the horses would hurry like that, they would tie them up and make them wait until all the horses got fed. And so gradually, those horses that would try to hurry, they could see, they understood that if you hurry, you don't get fed, right? So the ones that were always in a hurry were the last ones standing there tied to the post and just waiting. So eventually, they would all just one by one, slowly, mindfully going to their different stalls and waiting for their food. And so this relieved so much time and effort on the part of the workers, and they were really happy about that. And you could envision 40 horses all walking in a row, going where they're supposed to go, and very little intervention by the workers. So wow, that's amazing. Even to read about it was amazing. I couldn't envision that actually happening. So wow, that's pretty cool, right? And so they were able to do this. And even among horses, I thought, they understand the value of harmony. They have their own instincts longer than human beings, perhaps millions and millions of years of having this self-protection perspectives, right? Just in their genes. But they also, horses are a herd animal, and they know the value of the group, of the herd, right? The sangha. The herd is their sangha. It's to have harmony within their sangha. They can recognize that, and they learn through that. So I think that's a very close example to what we go through in our lives as people. So one of the words we hear often is bombu, ordinary man. Shindan Shonin called himself bombu, a foolish being. So we are all these foolish beings, self-centered, egocentric. We have these 3 poisons that continuously bubble up: greed, anger, and ignorance, always coming up. So everybody is bombu. Everybody is an ordinary, foolish being. And so in our interaction, everyday interaction, sometimes we find conflicts and troubles, but we learn patience, understanding. We're able to pause, we're able to breathe and reevaluate. And maybe we learn, I should be patient, I should be more patient, or maybe even better, they are being patient with me. So all these people, I'm learning something because of the kindness of these other members who are patient of my insensitivities, my egocentricness. And so I'm able to calm down, settle myself through everyone else here at the temple. So perhaps through our everyday life practice, we can be more accepting, more compassionate, more understanding, more patient. So I'd like to share another few words by Prince Shotoku. It said, "Let us cease from wrath and refrain from angry looks, nor let us be resentful when others differ from us. For all men have hearts, and each heart has its own leanings. Their right is our wrong, and our right is their wrong. We are not unquestionably sages, nor are they unquestionably fools. Both of us are simply ordinary men. We are all, one with another, wise and foolish, like a ring which has no end." So he's pointing to us all the same, and lots of times we read in the news every single day all these different kind of conflicts that occur and happen, and I'm right and you're stupid, and we protect our own perspectives. So let me read again what we started with from Prince Shotoku. "Harmony should be valued, and quarrels should be avoided. Everyone has his biases, and few men are farsighted." So if we look, we're surrounded by so many opportunities to understand the Nembutsu teachings and to experience harmony. Wow. Everyday life is our practice. So please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sensei, for your thoughtful message. We will now have our closing gatha. It will be in the purple book, Ondoku-san 2, on page 220. Do we have any announcements? If not, this concludes our January and February Shotsuki Hoyo Memorial Service. Once again, our appreciation to Reverend Fujimoto for your Dharma message. And thank you to the February Toban for the flowers and offerings. Thank you to George Stow for setting up the Naijin and sitting and starting the service with the concho. And thank you to Dr. Kent Matsuda for playing the organ. Everyone is invited to a shoko if you have not had a chance to do so. Light refreshments will be served in the hall, so please go and when you have a chance. So once again, thank you for coming today for this service. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.